Hello guys and welcome back to Power and Evolution 2020 edition with our Israeli playthrough here. In the last episode, I think the most important thing of note that we did was getting rid of all other political parties in the country except for our own. We are now in a one-party system and I had to rectify the stupidity of the game, which I've skipped ahead for me dealing with because it's annoying for me to even watch it. I don't want to include it because anytime you make any kind of change to political parties, even if you have no real power for the parties, it automatically gives them back their power, their ability to vote for laws. If you get it down to one party, then it just puts all the control under the power of the single party, which I have corrected that off camera now as well. The biggest effect that this has had is that we now have a fuck ton of terrorists in our countries, all different branches of all the different political parties that we did have, which is unfortunate. No large amount of individual power just in one group. They're all pretty limited. It looks like they have their party budgets. So I'm going to assume that this guy is this guy ran the party that I was in before I changed parties because he has about the same budget that I was not able to carry over with me to my current party. Looks like we are passing into a new quarter here, and we ended up with a $2.29 billion cash surplus. We're still pretty far in debt, but at the start of the game it was far worse. Let me take a look. It was far, far worse. So our public debt right now, we have $138.76 billion in public debt. It's really not that bad. Overall, we did start out with $246 billion in public debt, so you can say that we've almost cut through half of it. As a percentage of our GDP is getting lower and lower, not just because we're paying it off, but because our GDP is rising. Our growth, our economy is doing so amazingly right now. It's retarded. It was over 5%. Last episode, it's a little under that, just a teeny tiny bit, way higher than I actually want it to be. And my inflation is slowly going back up as a result of that, but a good inflation target tends to be 2%. So I don't mind it right now, but it is something to keep an eye on. This whole playthrough, my economy has performed very, very well, and I don't really know why. Cancer. We can fight cancer. Here we go. Here's a star. $73 million into fighting cancer. I used to have it maxed out. It's not maxed out anymore. Well, it is again, but that's just because I took over a country and there was a weird budget mix. National Assembly's revolt. Barricaded them inside. What? A plan to remain there for at least a year when they can vote on the laws of their country. That's not an actual event that I can interact with. That's just them writing down an event, I guess. Ooh, the leader of Morocco. Morocco as a country is starting to like us. I think this monarchy has made other monarchies, and especially embracing one party has made other less democratic countries like me so much more. The leader of Morocco did ask for a meeting with our country. What is this?
Resisted the attack.
Someone just tried to cyber attack me. Not a military cyber attack, but some kind of cyber attack. Looks like the rebellion, what is this? The Libyan Democratic Movement actually likes us more than actual Libya does. There's supposed to be two movements going on, I think, in Libya, or at least there was at the start of the game. Or maybe that's just a 2019 edition. Maybe the other one's gone. Yeah, I don't see the second one. So either the other one died off or they're just not in the 2020 edition. Looks like the Libyan Democratic Movement is stronger than Libya. That's interesting. I guess I wouldn't mind if they win. There is little way in this game to actually interact with supporting these kinds of little movements if I wanted to, other than trying to meet with them and handing them some money at the very best. Otherwise, fighting against them, you can ask permission from the UN to send troops there. Otherwise, you just try to dismantle terrorist groups in another country, and that's the quickest way to get rid of them. Like, looks like we would love it if the Yemeni defenders of the Sharia were in charge of Yemen rather than the actual leaders of Yemen. But what's the point? I mean, I could just take over Yemen myself, theoretically. I guess if I was playing a fully democratic country and I didn't want to get kicked out of power, there would be a point to supporting the ones that like you and the ones that you don't like, you would work against, be it by giving money or sending troops there. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what the intent behind this system is, because there's not much of a system here. If you are democratic and that is what you're aiming to do, is to just get powers that like you in charge, what is your opponent? What is the purpose of doing this? As of Power and Revolution, GPS 4, they removed multiplayer, which has been in the previous games for whatever reason, which stops you from having a rival in the game, which really kind of removes any point I can see from getting a friendly government in charge. I guess if you wanted better trade or to get an alliance for whatever reason, but there is little reason in this game to pursue an alliance or some kind of friendly settlement or installing a friendly leadership in countries that are actually susceptible to that kind of thing happening, when you could just invade the country and take it over for yourself or puppet it anyway. You know, I just don't know what the point would be, because like realistically I could look over here at Somalia and be like, oh man, I really want the Puntland Free Front to gain independence, and that is a thing here. They don't have, oh, they do have some fighting going on, and the Puntland Free Front is definitely losing. I know there's a lot of different conflicts happening here. You have Total Jihad, the Somaliland Autonomous League, Puntland Free Front. Oh, they have some other little conflicts happening now too. But, you know, what's the point of interacting? Why does Total Jihad like me more than Somalia? Am I really that bad of a person? I don't know. I, again, don't really know how any of this works. I'm going to lower my amount of agents in a lot of these countries by a good amount, especially Jordan, since I'm not really sure about attacking Jordan anymore, to free up 50 agents. For whatever reason, I can't get the number back to 225. These agents just refuse to recruit for whatever reason. Maybe if I increase the number even more, they would, but they refuse to. As it stands, I have more than enough agents. Maybe I could interact with some of the stuff going on in these countries. Let me see. Maybe Yemen? Like, do I need a cyber attack ready in Yemen? I don't plan on attacking Yemen anytime soon. I'd probably go through Saudi Arabia first. So, I don't know. Let's approach terrorist groups and see what we can find in Yemen. I'm going to call off the cyber attack preparation there just because we're not going to attack it anytime soon, anytime even close to soon. Let me go ahead and increase that to 25 again as well. We're going to do the same in Somalia, just to see what could happen from it. What could we potentially get from it? In what way could we benefit? And then that's 25. What does that leave us with? 20. Where else do I not need a lot of units? I mean, we don't really need anything in Oman. That's not going to be attacked anytime soon either. So let's lower that enough so we have another 25 agents. And where would be good to toss this? Iran doesn't really matter. It has like the Iranian Kurdish Renaissance, yada yada. But the Kurds here aren't really very good at rebelling. There's the ones in Iraq that own like a portion of the country. There's the ones in Syria, which also are pretty good, but looks like they hate me too. It's weird. The Kurds are very not united. I don't know enough about their history, but it's a very interesting situation they have going on there. I guess I'll make the other one in Libya. Let's get 25 there and approach terrorist groups. Now, there are some other countries I could try this in. It's just a matter of, is there a point to trying them in? Like, I could go help Georgia out, dismantle their terrorist groups since they're supposed to be my friend. I could go approach the Mujahideen since they like me more than the Afghan government, but the US has an investment there, so I don't really want to fuck with them. As a side note, I found another country that now loves me to death, and that is Benin. So let's get a meeting with the leader of Benin and see if we can get any kind of deal with him. Of course, allying myself with these isolated African countries will probably not benefit me, but you never know. You never know. So long as they're not someone that I plan on conquering, there's no issue. Which is the issue with Jordan. I just don't know what to do there. That's why I'm just going to leave a kind of a blocking force there. Maybe I'll reduce Oman a little, increase this to 8, so they're a little more secure, just so they don't get rooted out or anything. And let's finally do my meeting here with the leader of Morocco. He set this meeting up. It's a trade. He'd like to sell me gold. I consume 8. I produce none. I'm already buying 3. You'd like to sell it to me for more than my purchase price. You're crazy. I'm going to meet you around your purchase price, and then we'll see what we can do. All right, you don't even want to negotiate? Well, sure. I'll give you a coffee at the very least. You somewhat like me. Do you want a non-aggression pact? No? All right, well, it was nice meeting you. Have a good day. So we found out who ordered that cyber attack. It was just some criminal organization in the United States trying to make some money, I guess. We can meet with the leader of Benin now. Here's some coffee. I love your country. How do you like me? You like me all right. Let's try to just get an alliance? No? All right. Let's try to get defensive pact. All right. So we have a mutual defense pact. Let's try alliance now. No. Potentially any access? Maritime? All right. We got some maritime access. How about some air access? That's not happening. One final try for alliance. Hey, we got the alliance. Nice. We buttered him up. Oh, what did I accidentally ended the meeting. So we're not getting anything else. But a full alliance with maritime access, I call that pretty good for a strategic alliance with an African country. I don't know if it's an important one. I don't, but we have it. So there's plagues all over the world for whatever reason. The health of the world is going dog shit right now. I'm just going to boost the medical staff up to 20,000, a nice round number. It'll cost me about almost 15 million, not quite. Just because I notice our population per medical doctor situation has been worsening like crazy, probably since around the time we took over Lebanon, I want to imagine. I could be wrong, but this feels like it would be around that time. Their health situation probably wasn't as good as ours. It definitely wasn't. They probably didn't have very many medical staff. This is still kind of expensive to increase, so I'd like to pace it if I increase it at all. Just to get this a little bit better, because we are approaching the world average, and we definitely don't want to pass it. We want to stay better. I mean, even Jordan has more doctors per their population than we do. China's discovering some research. Our growth rate is retardedly high, which is good, I guess. Did you know in real life, this is kind of unrelated, but did you know in real life China has a targeted growth rate of 6% for the next, 10 or 15 years? I can't wait to see what happens to their inflation. Our amount of cyber analysts is rapidly approaching the targeted goal of 5,000. No, I don't want to hire that many. I just wanted to check. Let's put it up another 1,000 so we can get 6,000 cyber analysts. Still rather expensive, but we are rapidly increasing our cyber attack strength, which is going to help us in the long run. While we're at it, let's also go ahead and hire another about 1,000 agents on the national territory to help protect us from terrorists some more. Looks like we actually hired one of the international agents. Would you look at that? I guess I'll put you into Jordan. To this day, I don't really know if there's a point in this, but I'm going to put 100,000 of our dollars of our party's dollars, into server cyber protection, because it seems to be cumulative anyway, and we have plenty of money for our party. We are infiltrating more and more of these terrorist groups and dying in some of them. What's happening? So we're infiltrating more. We did deal a blow to the Israeli Rebel Union. This one, I guess. Yeah, probably. That looks like the sympathizers probably went down. Partial dismantlement to the communist forces as well. Apparently not decisive, but they're gone. I'm going to guess there was a second rebel union as well, and it's gone too. Could be wrong, but we definitely did just get rid of one of our terrorist groups here, the communist forces. I only left those guys in there for about 13, 14, 15 days, somewhere around that time period. Once we pass into the next month, I'll have to start getting some of these guys dismantling as well. This is going to be a little bit of a long haul of a process for us, but we only have to do it once. Now, I do want to continue tearing down the freedoms of my people so that they complain less. I'm gonna, let's pull the people. Well, they don't like it, but they're not looking like they'll completely hate me as a person. So let's go ahead and abolish the use of referendum at the national level. I gave it to them earlier, and we're going to get rid of it now as a thank you for helping me get this far. Give me this back, please. And then after this, the only thing I really have left to get rid of is the right to strike. That is the last political freedom I am aware of that has any real effect on the temperance of your people. The only other things that I could ever think of that would have an effect, is it under media? It's under culture. It's under culture. under liberties is criticism of things like religions, violence, etc. Got a little bit of a human rights hit, but nothing too bad. What is this? The number of electric cars is increasing to around 11% of total cars. Oh, okay. Let's keep an eye on that. There is also this screen here, but I don't think this has anything to do with that. I know that people really, really like it if you get towards separation of powers. At least I think they do, and they dislike it if the religion starts controlling things. Maybe it depends on the country, but based on my polls, it's definitely the way that I just said. So let's take a look at transportation now. Cars. So we have a couple things increasing. We are up to 11% just raw electric vehicles in our country. We are up to 0.5% self-driving electric vehicles in our country. This is unrealistic as hell based on the wealth of our population and how little I've done to promote any of this. The cars per capita has been going up since the start of the game, but it's not even at like every third person having a car yet. It's increasing very, very slowly. And that's something I actually have been trying to promote, which is so weird then. You know, I built so many highways, so many major highways. Every city in the country is connected on a major highway system. There are theoretically some more I could make, like I could make a loop out of this, connect Jabalaya, which sounds like Jambalaya, to Dire al-Balah. What is this? We're infiltrating. Alright. I could connect these two, but that would be mainly aesthetic. So long as you're connected by one highway, it tends to be enough. So while looking around, I have determined that the number of agents I have on a cell that is preparing for a cyber attack also affects the efficiency of a cyber attack against a country, not just the preparation to get an ultimate bonus. I realized that because I saw my power for Jordan had gone down by a small but notable amount. So I'm going to get rid of some of the agents that are in these terrorist cells approaching terrorist groups and redeploy them to countries that I plan on actually cyber attacking potentially, because one is more important for us than the other. Let me see if that actually had any immediate changes. It was at like 1400 and something. Oh yeah, it was at 1450. It's at 1657 all of a sudden.
Infiltrated agent.
So that definitely has a big effect, the amount of actual special international agents that you have assigned. So maybe I should go ahead and increase this to 250. So I don't know if this is a number bug, but it says I'm actually going to save money by increasing my agents. That's kind of weird. But I'm going to set the number to 250 and increase it by a little bit so we have more to assign. Maybe I should be maintaining less operational cells at once and instead be making larger ones. I've never known what the optimal amount of spies are. I haven't seen it affect the speed of accomplishing your objective. A crazy amount, a slightly noticeable amount, but not an insane amount. But now looking at the hidden stats that you need a DLC to view of cyber attacks, I can see there is merit to putting more than, say, 5, 10, 20, 25 agents into one country and instead putting in a lot more. So I'm thinking of redoing this even more. These approach terrorist ones, this is just a little side thing I'm trying. Let's lower those down to 10. And the people surrounding me, those are the most important. Syria, Egypt, and Jordan. Let's get you up to 30. Now that's everyone. Oh well, we're not quite we're not quite there, you see, because we're still lacking one, so it's not an even number. So let's just get the Oman one down because it's not as important. What other ones aren't as important right now that we don't have to worry about quite yet? We don't have to worry about Saudi Arabia or Iran at the moment. Let's lower those two. They're a little more pressing, but let's lower them. Is there anyone else I can cut from? Eritrea. Eritrea is not as important at the moment. Not at all. They're right down here. No, they don't matter. Let's lower Eritrea down to 10. And then let's lower Sudan down to 15. And then let's pour 10 more into Egypt. 10 more into Syria. And 5 more into Jordan. These changes are basically instant too, which is really nice. So let me see what the situation here is. Military cyber attack. So, okay, that boosted our cyber attack capability a good amount. We were at about 1,800, slightly above their defense here, and now we are at, much, much higher. Okay, so the special agents have much more of an effect on all of this than I really expected them to. What if I go for 300? Not that expensive. I'm going to try recruiting even more, because it honestly seems overall like it would be more cost efficient to just do this than get cyber analysts. I'm sure the two work in tandem. I mean, cyber analysts will also increase my defense. I've already paid for increasing the amount, and as my country grows, I would want more anyway. But I think there is something to be gained here by increasing the amount of special agents rather than just the cyber analysts. How much can I feasibly increase this? So they do have a cost. They definitely cost more than hiring cyber analysts, I'll tell you that much. Cyber analysts are cheaper. To go forward another, 200 is about 125 mil or so. To go forward another 1,000 here, yeah. So these are more expensive, but they definitely add to the effectiveness. I'll probably use them in tandem then. I'll mix and match as I can hire them. So I've been continuing to try to dismantle these organizations, these terrorist organizations in my country, and most of them have been going as you'd expect. A partial dismantlement, not complete. But I just got a completely different alert here. A failure to dismantle an organization. I guess I didn't wait long enough, and then this one's like a departure.
It's true that the blow cannot reach.
And another partial, yeah, they're just... There's someone just dying. A little population boost due to anti-terrorism. So one of them's definitely gone here. One of them gave me more trouble than all the rest. Maybe this one. So maybe waiting more time would be necessary. But more than that, I need more agents on the national territory. Why is this at 3,600? Didn't I just try to raise it to 4,000? Dude, I don't know. That's kind of weird. Didn't I have like 3,000 agents? Did that failure get a bunch of my agents murdered? That's kind of crazy if it did. More agents on the national territory will help with the fight against terrorism, so I'm going to go ahead and increase it to 4,000 again, I guess again. I'm going to try waiting more than a week, I suppose. I guess I'll wait more like... Well, some of them I waited only 2 weeks, so that was more time. So maybe closer to a month, but I have seen that a month tends to be too much for our agents. More of our solar plants and etc. have finished, so our production cap has gone up. I'm going to go ahead and dismantle, let's say, another 16 fossil energy plants, which will lower our production by about 3.2, and I will go ahead and tell another offshore to build. Got a little public finance boost from disabling that. I guess I'll just follow this little line here because I don't plan on invading Cyprus anytime soon if I do, because they have a mutual defense pact. Someone asked me why I don't want to meet with them or why I don't want to invade Cyprus, and it's because they have a mutual defense pact with like all of Europe. This is like the top model in my country. So I'm just gonna... You're even more beautiful in real life. Listen, I don't want any of that. So speak highly of me and join my party. That's about it. That's all I've got for you. And US is discovering more tech. I don't know if it's been long enough, but I do want to see if I can get that big popularity boost that I got last time. Economy's doing great still, by the way, over 5%. This is why I don't do a lot of economic things, by the way, as this country right now. Because I don't need to. In fact, it would probably hurt me if I did. You want to know why I'm not building an army? You want to know why I'm not doing this and that could help boost my economy? Because my economy is doing so well, it's out of my control. I would need to try to dig it into the ground disproportionately. All right, the law on the usage of referendums is gone. That statements in the press didn't do very much, so it definitely wasn't long enough. So I think I waited about 2 or 3 months, so maybe more of a 6-month process that you have to wait instead. More like once or twice a year rather than multiple times a year. So I totally forgot that the right to strike has 3 steps instead of 2. So let's change it from authorized to limited and monitored as a step 1 to lower it. I know my popularity is not even above 90, but I don't think it could hurt my popularity so much that this would cause a problem. I mean, the last one, the referendums, only lowered my popularity by about, 10% tops overall. I imagine this would have a similar effect. To move it in the right direction, let's see about spending some money. Everyone's favorite thing to do. This is all so expensive, but that's what spending money is all about. Is there anything less expensive than 100 million? That's what I want to know. Doesn't seem to be. It's all about 100 million. Alright, so industry. Okay, no, that's one of the more expensives. Matter sciences. Let's boost you up to max. We still have a pretty weird number for policemen, so I'm going to go ahead and up this to 100,000, which is, whew, it's going to cost a decent amount, but hopefully it gives us a little security bonus and not so many riots that pummels us into the ground. 100 million isn't quite what it used to be now that our budget is so much higher anyway. I think I can spend a little more freely. I don't know, I'm just taking a guess. Also just judging because everything's becoming more and more expensive. Inflation is progressing every year. The value of my currency is rapidly, or has changed a lot compared to the dollar. The dollar's actually starting to do better to the point where my currency is not doing as well compared to the dollar. At least I think that's what's happening. Dollar euro, dollar yen, I think so anyway. Dollar to euro, so yeah, the dollar is doing better because our currency is doing better and better against the euro steadily. But the dollar is becoming worth more again compared to our currency. Euro, yen. Yeah, the euro is pretty stagnant. The dollar's on the rise. Funny because the dollar starts out not on the rise at the start. So it's interesting to see how that's kind of changed. And the euro-dollar parity, you can see the dollar is also starting to regain some momentum against the euro. Slowly but surely. And Egypt had a fucking, what? An earthquake. Well, that's nice. That won't have any effects on us. They're next door neighbors. What can I spend here that would help with anything? I know environmentalists. I haven't spent much of anything on this tab in quite a while, I think. Because so much of it is so expensive. Like, what the hell? So it's been a little over 3 weeks since this terrorist organization has been infiltrated. So I'm going to set that to dismantle. What about this other one? Oh, not nearly as much. That one just got infiltrated right now. So that one's going to have to wait a little bit longer. Hopefully we can get rid of that organization in a flash. Our medical staff situation is doing a little better, but it's still pretty crazy, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and hire another 1,000 doctors. That's probably something that my people will like. Not that it needs to be very great. We're still better than the world average, but I'd like to be a little better than better. So that way if I take over another country whose healthcare system is a little more lacking, especially in terms of its doctor employment, we don't suffer any ill effects right off the bat. I mean, we've already suffered some pretty major health problems from annexing so much unhealthy populations. Our child mortality rate has been on the rise for a while. As you can see, we started here. We were getting better until we started annexing places. Our life expectancy was at 83 at the start of the game. It went up to like 87, 89. It's down to 73.7 and still lowering because of the unhealthy populations that we've taken over. And I can only increase spending so much. And okay, so I guess the law on the right to strike has been passed, which has given us a little bit of a hit. Again, it wasn't nearly as much of a hit as it could be. Let's go to wherever the hell it's located, I always forget. Unions, and check out, what about setting them to forbidden? Okay, that's not so bad. This is the last one we're gonna do, so I'm gonna go with the television appearance as well, and we're going to confirm that, and then that'll carry over into the next episode where we will finally get rid of the right to strike. Our cybersecurity stuff has been increased so much that we are getting closer to our next invasion, but I have been enjoying this time working on our population so far bug-free since we experienced those terrible crashes and bugs X amount of episodes, I guess a few episodes ago now. All we really need to pay attention to at this point is all these terrorists that we have. We still need to get rid of them. We're slowly getting rid of them. We've gotten rid of a couple, but there's still more to go. These are of my own doing, of course, but don't worry, we will get rid of them. But for now, thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.